Hi, my name is Carol Crocker. The title of my fifth grade unit plan is Life in the Colonies. This is a time in history when people were coming to America in shiploads to a new land that would eventually become the United States of America. The approved textbook, Life in the Colonies Unit 4 by Scott Forsman, will be used, and the California Standards and/or Common Core Standards in the areas of history, social studies, language arts, and visual and performing arts are addressed. The objective of this unit is that students understand the political, religious, social, and economic institutions that evolved in the colonial era. Engaging students is the challenge in every subject. This lesson plan incorporates Bloom's taxonomy from remembering to understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. It also addresses Howard Gardner's multiple intelligences of visual, verbal, logical, kinesthetic, musical, interpersonal, intrapersonal, and naturalistic. The activities and projects are aligned to the various intelligences, enabling students to use their best learning skill. Each lesson in the text will be completed in groups which addresses visual, verbal, kinesthetic, and interpersonal. Using technology in the classroom is fundamental to teaching our students in today's world. Students in the classroom today are considered digital natives, and they began plugging into technology at an early age. The National Education Technology Standards, NETS, from the International Society of Technology in Education, ISTE, is an integral part of this unit. These standards enhance creativity, assessment, and learning, as well as student understanding of citizenship and responsibility in using today's technology. Students will use computers, laptops, smartphones, digital cameras, and iPads. There are some computers in the classroom as well as a school computer lab. For those students who do not have technology available at home, the public library has computers available at no charge. Students will use various software and apps for activities and creating projects, which include Microsoft Office programs such as Word, PowerPoint, and Excel, Google Docs, Songify, Wordle, Foti, Paint, and Animoto. They will use any of the browsers, and research can be done using Google's search engine. Documents will be accessed or uploaded on either Google Docs or the teacher's blog. Now for a unit overview of the information, projects, and activities. In week 1, students will learn about the 3 areas of the 13 original colonies. They will understand the influence of location and physical setting on the founding of the original 13 colonies, and identify on a map the locations of the colonies and of the American Indian nations already inhabiting these areas. Their first major project will be to create a poem to remember the names and areas of each of the colonies. They will use Songify to put this poem to music and play for the class. They will also identify the major individuals and groups responsible for the founding of the various colonies and reasons for their founding. Graphic organizers illustrating what types of people first made up the colonies, why the British left for the new land, and seeking religious freedom will be completed using iPads and Paint, including the corresponding vocabulary. The templates for these organizers are on Google Docs and the teacher's blog. Think, Pair, Share activity will provide opportunity for students to discuss these topics with their shoulder partner. The first and second lessons from the textbook will be completed. Visual, verbal, kinesthetic, musical, logical, and interpersonal are intelligence used this week. In week 2, students will describe the religious aspects of the earliest colonies and identify the significance and leaders of the First Great Awakening, which marked a shift in religious ideas, practices, and allegiances in the colonial period, the growth of religious toleration, and free exercise of religion. They will watch videos discussing religious freedom development and the First Great Awakening in colonies, as well as research on the internet how freedom of religion is today. They will reflect on these and create a PowerPoint that illustrates how this affected the colonies. Students will take a poll of the class to assess the diversity of religion in a survey and write a 5-paragraph essay explaining why it is important we have freedom of religion today from their research and personal reflection. On their iPads, students will complete graphic organizers illustrating problems that emerged in the New England colonies, including the Salem witch trials and development of the Middle colonies. The third and fourth lessons from the textbook will be completed. Visual, verbal, kinesthetic, logical, intrapersonal, and interpersonal are intelligence used this week. In week 3, students will understand how the British colonial period created the basis for the development of political self-government and a free market economic system, and the differences between British, Spanish, and French colonial systems, as well as describe the introduction of slavery into America, the responses of slave families to their condition, the ongoing struggle between proponents and opponents of slavery, and the gradual institutionalization of slavery in the South. Students will complete graphic organizers illustrating founding of the Southern colonies and why Southern colonies depend on slavery using iPads. Students will go to Riley's Farms to experience colonial life and take pictures with a smartphone or digital camera. From these pictures, they will create a slideshow using Animoto. Students will complete a graphic organizer on their iPads to illustrate the timeline of the founding of the colonies, which will include a few key points of whom and why each colony was founded. Students will create a 3D art project illustrating and describing a selected occupation. Information will be typed in Word, and the artwork can be from pictures downloaded from the internet, drawing, or other items. Students will begin research on a leader of this era for a project due next week. The 5th and 6th lessons from the textbook will be completed. Visual, verbal, kinesthetic, musical, intrapersonal, logical, naturalistic, and interpersonal are intelligences used this week. In week 4, students will explain the early democratic ideas and practices that emerged during the colonial period, including the significance of representative assemblies and town meetings. Students will generate a Wordle and a newspaper article using Foti on the leader researched. Both Wordle and newspaper article will be presented in class using the Smartboard. On their iPads, they will complete the graphic organizer summarizing and illustrating government, geography, industry, and way of life for each of these areas in preparation for the final test. The 7th lesson plan from the textbook will be completed. Visual, verbal, kinesthetic, logical, interpersonal, and interpersonal are intelligences used this week. The time frame for this unit can be easily modified and the activities and projects can be assigned for individual or group completion. I hope you enjoyed how this unit engages students in creatively learning about the life in the colonies by incorporating their learning strengths and technology.